Hello and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me as always is...
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
Hi, Khalid.
Hey, Joe.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm groovy. We had rain yesterday, so it's like that afterglow in LA now, which you rarely get because it's a desert.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. You're just kind of like glimmering and shimmering and basking in this, I imagine.
Yeah, the sun shines just a little bit brighter after a rainy day, and it's like warmer, and it's just pleasant,
Yeah,
It's just it's nice to have weather.
It snowed here.
Really? In Minnesota, you don't say?
Yeah, it did.
Wow.
Had to shovel and everything
how's
today.
that going?
Always a good time.
I don't miss shoveling at all. I don't think I shovel right. My back gets sore so fast.
That's probably why you moved to LA, right?
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't get my form down. I knew I wouldn't go pro.
You wouldn't go pro.
Exactly.
I listened to our previous podcast, Khalid, and I was realizing that there's a pattern here. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
I always ask you how you're doing, and you always respond with groovy.
Really?
Yeah. Did you know that, or is this a plan? Did you plan this?
No, I'm not committed enough or have enough foresight to plan things.
We're meta podcasting right now. Did you know that?
I guess, yeah. We're getting real into the weeds. This is inside baseball for all of the day ones, not some new listeners.
Yeah, pretty much some deep stuff here. So,
all right. Well, I note taken. I will learn other words besides groovy to describe myself.
well, almost like I feel like now at this point, if you switch it up, it's like not good. Like you got to keep with it. You got to stick with it now.
We'll see. It seems like it's just a reflex, but we'll see.
Well, don't make a commitment, because if you try to do something, it's going to come off as artificial.
I've never tried in my life, Joe.
That's true. I can vouch for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, hey, did you hear about the monster that had 8 arms?
Like a specific monster or just any monster?
Just any monster. Did you hear about it?
No.
He said they all come in handy.
Oh, God.
Oh, and that's a segue. We're talking about a property today with a monster that is all sorts of tentacly, and I made the connection that octopuses have 8 tentacles, and so arms, tentacles, that joke. So you know what I'm going. You know I'm going with this, Khalid.
Do I?
Yep. I'm going to segue into transitioning into what we are discussing today. There.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So today, for those of you joining, you probably already saw the title when you clicked on this to listen. It's a book club episode. Book club.
Book club.
We are discussing a comic book. Just like we've done this one before. We did Bitterroot before, and we're doing another comic book with monsters, and I'm excited about it. Khalid, do you want to tell our listeners what we're talking about?
Yeah, real quick though. I'm an adult, Joe, so can we call this a graphic novel?
Yeah, why don't we go with that?
Thank you. Okay. So today we are talking about the graphic novel Monstress, written by Marjorie Liu and art done by Sana Takeda. Butchered that name. Totally butchered it. But we got a summary from our homeboy Wikipedia today, and it goes a little something like this. The series is set in a matriarchal world inspired by early 20th century Asia and tells the story of Micah Halfwolf, a teenage girl who shares a mysterious psychic link with a powerful monster. The background to the story is a war between the Arcanics, magical creatures who sometimes can pass for human, and the Kumea, an order of sorceresses who consume Arcanics to fuel their power. Micah is an Arcanic who looks human and who is set on learning about and avenging her dead mother. Micah's left arm has been severed, and a demon occasionally emerges from its stub. The demon, who takes over her body and mind, is a source of great power, but challenging for Micah to understand and control. Done.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Sounded like a mouthful there.
That was a lot. I mean, I understand because it's like so much story. Like, like it's. I mean, Volume One is basically like a season of TV almost, or like half a season of TV to me. So I get it.
Yeah, Volume One's hefty. I saw that that she mentioned that Volume One is kind of it's bigger than the other volumes because there's just so much like introduction and world building that has to fit in this first little bit to kind of make the
It's a
story work.
lot of groundwork, like the
Yeah,
like little interstitials with the cats. Like even that feels like it's like put in there just because like there's so much you can't explain within the actual narrative.
yeah. So I guess before we dig too deep into it, what'd you think of it?
Oh, I dig it, man. It's like some parts Avatar The Last Airbender, some parts Game of Thrones, some parts like its own weird Gonzo thing. It's just super cool. This is exactly the kind of like world building and mythology that like I dig, but I don't do that much fantasy like you know, because like I feel like Lord of the Rings was just like too much of like a standard bearer on fantasy, and it somehow turned into just a bunch of British guys in armor fighting like the same kind of monsters. So it's really cool to get this like uh, Asian influenced story set in a world that is very familiar, but still its own identity. I mean, yeah, like there's a lot more I'm going to say about it, but I'll just keep it to I loved it. It was dope. I am definitely going to read the next volume.
I would 100% agree with you. I really love this. I've mentioned before you off air that I read this before, like a while ago, like right around when it first came out, and I really liked it. And I don't think the second volume had come out at that time, so I put it down and hadn't gotten around to coming back to it. But rereading it, I got so much more out of it the second time too, and I'm just so excited to like. I think there's 5 volumes that are currently out, like the collected trade paperbacks. Very excited to go into those. But you're absolutely right about just this kind of take on the fantasy genre. Like it had been sort of very Eurocentric for a long time, like Eurocentric white men kind of dominating the landscape of genre storytelling in general. But we are seeing, it's cool that we are seeing that like that change a lot, and this is just a really great example of what that kind of can look like, and I kind of feel like I mean, that's sort of what the genre needs, though. You know, like I mean, otherwise you're just recycling the same stories. You need more perspectives into it, and this is that, and that's why it's so cool.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's exactly like you're saying about recycling storylines and stuff like that. There's only like so many schools of thought within Western civilization that you can pull from or emulate. You know, like there's like your C.S. Lewis with like the Christ allegory and all that. So like, it's cool to see an Eastern influenced comic book that actually like pulls a lot from the spiritual teachings in those cultures. Obviously, I'm not gonna like be like, oh yeah, this is exactly like Buddhism or something like that. That would be pretty reductive, but it's very clear from like the way that it's written and like the stuff that it's like pointing to that there is like an Eastern influence to the spirituality that is brought up.
Yeah, I got a lot of quotes from Marjorie Liu that I pulled just reading about this in general, and she this is an interview I found from her in Paste magazine, and she says that it's essentially she considered it to be like an alternate 1920s China. But she says, quote, it's not just set in China. It's also set in Mongolia, Japan, Hawaii, but it's different in the sense that they're non-human people. And she drew from mythology for the different races. So like the talking cats that are like the spies and the assassins that you mentioned, they're kind of based off this thing called the Japanese yokai. And she says that the yokai are supernatural creatures from Japanese mythology. For example, the cat yokai can raise the dead and speak to ghosts. So some of these cats are able to raise the dead along with all their other mysteries.
Ooh, little
Yeah.
necromancer cat. That'd be sick.
Well, the main cat's a necromancer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
My cat is not a necromancer. But it did just learn to start knocking things off the edge of tables and surfaces.
I mean,
So
that's right up there with it.
pretty much the same thing.
What did you think of the art?
I like the art a lot. It was very. I'm trying to think. Like, it definitely evoked Avatar: The Last Airbender, but like a lot less like cartoonish, if that makes sense. Like,
It's anime influenced, yeah.
Yeah, it's way more anime influenced, but like I don't know why, but like maybe the color palettes or something like that. Like I just kept seeing it, and like not even Avatar: The Last Airbender so much as like Legend of Korra when they get more. I don't know if you've seen it, but like that one's more like steampunk since it's like the next generation, so technology's advanced. I don't know why, but like I kept just like seeing like the like bigger cities in that show.
I could see that. I'm gonna get slammed for this. I just realized it's anime inspired. It's probably manga inspired is the correct terminology on
Oh
print.
man,
Yeah.
come for his mentions, not mine. I would never say that, manga fans.
I thought I liked the art too though. Takeda, the artist and illustrator. She's a Japanese artist. She started work with like 3D CGI modeling and apparently was pretty much self-taught in how to like draw and like create these kind of worlds that she was able to create like this. So it's super cool. And I'm just like every page I was just continually impressed with what she was able to do.
Yeah, it's super impressive. Like it's a very vivid and distinct world that they've created.
Yeah. Apparently, so there's a character in the book Kippa, the little like fox child.
Yeah.
Apparently that in the actual like when Marjorie Liu was writing the story, like that character was just like a minor character who wasn't going to be in the story much. But when she saw the sketches and the design for that character, she was like, "Oh, I got to keep this around."
Oh, so it's kind of like a Jesse Pinkman thing from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, yeah,
That's pretty cool. I always like that when it's like, I'll be honest, that kid was dead. Like as soon as I conceived of it, like DOA, and then it just impressed me so much that I had to keep it.
yeah. So in this story or in this, I guess we should dig into a little bit of stuff to just for those people who haven't read it. We won't get into too much spoilers just because I think with our book club episodes, we want people to go out and read it. And a lot of people who probably listen to this might be like, oh, I want to get a recommendation. So we're not going to get too deep into spoilers. And I think that's another reason why we stuck to volume 1 for this and Bitterroot. But to get some of like the sort of understanding of the world out of the way, I think it's interesting to look at the different like races and cultures that make up this world. So we've got the humans, who are aligned with the Kumeya, which are like they're kind of like a they're like nuns, like sorceress nuns. They have like an order and they work with the humans. So they're actually humans, but they have special powers. Like I kind of think of them like Aes Sedai from the Wheel of Time, except a little more evil or quite a bit more evil.
Is there a reference that I would understand?
I don't know, maybe. Let me get back to you on that one. They're just like an order of women with power, basically. Like it's in a lot of fantasy stories, so there's some like basis for that, which is kind of cool. But then we also have the Arcanics. So our main character, Mika Halfwolf, is an Arcanic, and the Arcanics they could look human or they could look more like monstrous or creature like, but they're basically hybrids, a hybrid race between the humans and the ancients, which is another race of like immortal beings that look like animals. So like their head, like one of them's like a wolf queen, and there's another one who's like the monkey king. And so those are also kind of like rooted in some of those like the cultural mythology too. Then we also have the cats, who are mysterious and necromancers, and they talk and they're really smart and they're cool. And then there's the very mysterious old gods, or monstrum as they're sometimes referred to, which are these like kaiju-esque like beings, creatures that just kind of walk around the land. They're huge, but they don't really interact with the world. Like there's speculation and throughout this volume of whether or not that they're like kind of just like after images or ghosts that just sort of wander of like the old gods, or just old creatures, or they're taking the form of that, and they're not like aware of their surroundings, kind of thing. So what do you think of like the races and the breakdowns of the culture?
I mean, you guys can tell just from like Joe's description there, it is dense. It's a lot thrown at you almost out the jump that you have to just kind of take in stride. I don't know. I confessed to earlier, I don't read that much fantasy. So I'm not accustomed to just like when I jump into a world having to literally understand at least like 40% of like a world pretty much from the outset, which is what this graphic novel was like asking of me. So I found it like intimidating. And if you're like me and you don't necessarily like peruse this that often, I will say like get over that hump, like keep reading. And the story eventually starts to pare down to like what you actually need to know, and you pick up like all of the details as you go. I don't know, like if I was to get tested on this, I would maybe get like a C on like the names of everybody and everything. But I get the gist. I get the gist of it. I get the overall story, and that's what's like got me super into it. And like, I like that it's like almost like this weird like apartheid kind of parallel to a lot of it that like helps kind of ground it for me. So yeah, I mean, it's cool if you're asking me what I think of like all these characters and like the fact that like they have such a deep and rich history that we're going to be able to peel back. It's very cool. It's just it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I think for people that are new, might be newer to the genre, it's a lot. But like as you mentioned, I think in this, I like so I'm somebody who reads a whole bunch of fantasy, and I see whole different examples of world building out there, and I can understand how that's intimidating. But I know that a lot of people who are fans of the genre like just to like to geek out hard about the world building, like that's usually one of the primary draws to the genre. But I would say that this story. Could kind of have a broader universal appeal. Like I think that once you break through maybe that initial hump or that little fear of um, getting lost in the weeds, I think that there's such a really powerful story to be told that it's worth it for people who might be new to this kind of type of a story to come in. But for me, I like tidbits of world building and just seeing how the author is able to manage like creating all of this and making it work in tandem with each other, right? Like I'm like in awe of like fantasy and sci-fi always, just because like when you make a drama story, like you already have a world that you don't have to worry about the world because it exists in our world usually, but you have to like craft everything and make sure the mechanics work and the physics work and all this other stuff, and like give explanations for why this is and like make this culture and all that. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's super impressive just to see how that's done, depending on the work or the author or the story. And this one is just incredibly ambitious. It's so grim too, really grim and dark, but it's
It's
ambitious.
very dark. We should mention
Yeah,
this is like Bitterroot. You could like show to like a kid. This one, I would say like maybe like 15 and older, depending on like depending on the parent and the kid. But
yeah.
it's got like adult languages. It's a lot more nuanced. Like even our protagonist, I wouldn't say is like as straightforward like a hero.
No, she's a very interesting protagonist, but yeah, not necessarily straight up a hero. It's like she's kind of on a crusade in a sense that I feel like is ultimately justified, but she also like isn't out there for like the greater good of the world necessarily.
No, definitely not. Which she shouldn't be. She's a 17-year-old that's got like a very specific agenda. So
Yeah, but that's also like flies in the face of like the normal like chosen one motifs, right? Like where it's like in fantasy where it's like, oh, the chosen one has to go like change the world, and maybe they'll get there, but
I
like
feel like they're leading to that.
I think
To
I
some
think they are
degree.
too. But I like what propels her isn't like that whole like you're gonna go save the. She's already on a mission, and maybe that mission will morph into something more.
That's what's really cool too. Like I feel like a lot of stuff falls into the trap of like let's say I would say the thing that's like most similar to this is maybe Venom with that like I mean really any iteration of Venom, but let's just say the movie Venom with Tom Hardy since that's probably the most
Okay.
popularly known. It reminds me of that dynamic of like a person and then their possessor, and like that exchange is like such a fascinating one when done right, where it's not just the thing that you transform into that is like so much better than you and like super strong or whatever is the real showstopper, and you're just waiting for that transformation that never really like happens in this story. I find Micah just as compelling as the monstrum.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I guess to back up, I think you mentioned in the description, but yeah, the main character Micah Halfwolf has a monster within her. So she's like she's traveling along with this creature that exists like within her, and has been like within her family for like generations, but kind of like is for some reason able to awake within her that we don't quite know yet. And that relationship is super interesting. Like she has a lot of interesting relationship with the people around her, like the people in her party that she travels with, and like another friend that she's writing letters to. But the monster and her relationship is very fascinating, and it leads to one of the themes that I think is interesting of like the notion of not being 100% in control of your body is like a really terrifying concept.
Oh yeah, super terrifying.
Yeah. But yeah, that monster was sweet though. I really like the art design on like the creatures because they're kind of they're not typical creatures. They're like swirly and kind of tentacly with like eyes. They're very very obscure and very alien looking.
So they're referred to as like kaiju in some of the stuff I read. Does that mean that they get that like as big as like kaiju as I understand
Well,
it?
I think they're referring to the ones that they see just kind of walking around that don't really have any influence in the story yet.
Right.
Like either those giant ones that are kind of like the kaiju esque, because kaiju is like just a giant monster.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think you could argue, you can make the case that this is drawing a little bit and or paying homage to kaiju storytelling because that is rooted often in like Asian cultures too.
Yeah.
So that there's an element of that, but I don't think the monster that's in Mecha is a kaiju, but we don't know at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it
Um,
is as big as a skyscraper.
maybe because we only see it like within her, and it only see it kind of like coming out just like through her arm, which she actually one of her arms is severed, so it kind of comes off that severed arm.
Yeah, did I miss that? How she loses the arm, or they
No,
haven't said
she
yet?
she doesn't have it to begin with.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But like another, I guess if you want to like root it back in like classical storytelling or classic literature, what it made me think a little bit about is like the Jekyll and Hyde dynamic.
Oh yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
say Wolfman, but Jekyll and Hyde works too.
Oh yeah, Wolfman kind of works too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
especially with like her like without spoiling it or anything, but like she does have like a need to feed, which like
yeah.
complicates like her morality and all of it.
Yeah. And I don't I'm not like well versed in the Jekyll and Hyde storytelling, but I what made me think lean more towards that was that sort of there's like this like coexisting nature within the monster and her where she can kind of like feel the monster and they can kind of communicate sometimes when one's not fully in control and it's not necessarily dependent on like a lunar cycle or something like that when the monster would come out, so it's sort of random and it's sort of whoever is able to like grapple for enough control in that moment.
Yeah. And I like the monster's like kind of personality, and I like that it's not that the monster's holding all the cards. It's kind of just as much in the dark as she is as to why
Hmm.
everything's going on. So like that's really cool that like they're working together to like solve this mystery ultimately.
Yeah, I'm really liking that they're both going to have to help each other reluctantly because they don't like each other at this point.
Like any good duo, they gotta bump heads first.
Got to odd couple it.
I was gonna say Hobbs and Shaw. That's the more
Oh
popular example of an odd couple.
yeah, for the kids now, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They don't know what the actual odd couple is, but Hobbs and Shaw, tip of the tongue. It's right there.
Absolutely. Another interesting thing, I just think like kind of going back to the world building piece of it, like there's almost like a different style of world building that you see that kind of exists within comics or graphic novels for you, Khalid. I'm sorry.
Thank
Within like
you.
this, within this medium versus like books or novels, and because you have to do so much more visual storytelling, so there's not a lot of opportunity for just straight up exposition. And or when they try to do that, they have to integrate it, kind of carefully and tactfully. And so in this story, they did it with the like you mentioned the cats. There's these interludes at the end of each like single issue that's collected in here, where like it's like Professor what is it Professor Tam, I want to say
Yeah.
Professor Tam. It's like a cat who's giving a lecture to a bunch of little kittens. She's like, "Listen up, kits," and like just kind of gives like history of the world or the realm or like the cultures. And I really liked that. I thought like it's on the nose. Like it's very like, oh, here we're just gonna take a time to tell you the history so you have context. But it's a really fun way to do it, I thought.
Oh, it's so fun. And it's like I love the stills of like the little kitties. Like there's one where like the kitten's on its back around like the food bowl. That's so adorable. And I just love overall that there's like a faction of like cats that are like players in this big end game that we're like headed towards.
I know, and like so it like serves like a counter to how grim everything else is. Like it's just like there's this like kind of cuteness and fun factor that's added in, and to like everything else that's just so dark.
Yeah, and I mean, like as somebody who is like a huge Puss, like you know me well enough, Joe. I'm a huge Puss in Boots fan. So like, you tell me there's swashbuckling cats in this story, I'm sold. All right, you can put the price tag on me, and you could give me to whoever just bought me because you just told me there are swashbuckling cats in this story, man. That one with the one with like the bandolier or whatever you call
And the
it,
eye
like
patch, right?
the eye
Yeah,
patch. When he like ambushes them, like I was not expecting that at all.
that was a great moment.
It was awesome. It was super awesome.
I kind of I don't know how common this is like in comics in general, but I feel like a few of the comics that I really like. So like this series, and I really like Saga by Brian K. Vaughan, and I also really like The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. Like everybody likes those comics, so it's not like unique to me. But uh, all of those have cats in some like capacity. Like the Saga has the lion cat character, and Neil Gaiman, like Sandman, there's a bunch of cats that are all Neil Gaiman has cats in a lot of his stuff too, but there's like this, it kind of like links these stories together in some way for me in like my head. Like I think they all kind of like I think in terms of movies often like, oh, what could I pair as a double feature with that? Like I'm almost like they kind of work like if I read a Sandman comic and then Monstress, it would work almost like a double feature for me because I think like tonally and just some of like the out there sort of ideas and world building that work in this medium just work within those comics for me. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, again, swashbuckling cats. I'm in.
Yeah, that's all you need, right? That's all you need.
That's all I've ever needed. That's why I got a cat. I'm just waiting for him to grow into these boots I bought him.
I hope that you actually do have boots.
I wish I did. Now that I said that, I'm gonna get some though. I don't want to just to make an honest man out of myself. I'm gonna go get cat boots.
You should. I suppose we should. I don't know if we mentioned this too, but another interesting thing about this is since we mentioned that like fantasy has been generally like Eurocentric and male dominated, this is actually a matriarchal world that's kind of in this too. So it's like there's very few male
Actually, I
characters.
did mention it thanks to my homeboy Wikipedia. It's the first thing I said.
True, yeah. But it's cool. It's a cool concept. I think that I was reading an interview with Marjorie Liu also, and she was saying that a lot of like she grew up reading fantasy, and like when she first kind of went to start writing fantasy, she found herself just writing stories about men, specifically like white men going on like some sort of like adventure that feels token-esque because that's what she was exposed to so much. And she's like, I have all this wealth of like mythology and culture based on like what she grew up when with her family. And she's like, why don't I just pull from that? My like default is to go to this like white Eurocentric thing. So she deliberately wanted to kind of change that a lot of those notions and like flip a lot of that stuff on its head. And I think it shows.
Oh, it totally shows. I would say like aside from the swashbuckling cats, I would say my favorite character is probably the sorceress, like the main villain of the.
Yeah.
Is it sorceress? Is that her name? Did I say that incorrectly?
The sorceress,
Is
the
that's
Mother
her name, right?
Superior,
Yeah,
like the
Mother
head of
Superior or
the
whatever. Yeah,
community.
like the
Yeah,
yeah, like the nun wizards or whatever.
the nun wizards.
They
Yeah.
she's really really like scary and a very effective villain, and I think that just goes to like the power of making this a matriarchal focused world in and of itself is like this like threat of like this lady is so cool, and then like you get her backstory with the cats at one point, and
Hmm.
that's really awesome because I feel like it just adds to her bona fides based on what we've already seen her do.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it happens early enough on in the story that I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but there are like these characters that like, is it her or her people that like they come across and they're just like, everybody's like, why are you even fighting? You're gonna die. Like, just put it down. And like some of them are just, no, screw that. I'm gonna die. Like, but yeah, I just say all that to say like it's just like a really impressive like type of villain that we don't usually see.
Right. And I'm sure it's got to be intentional too that like the word monster is pretty much in the title, and there's this whole story is like centered around monsters and creatures of different kinds, but like the kind of like some of the most horrific characters like the humans, right? The human characters and the Kumeya, which are like offshoots of humans, and the ones that look more monstrous or creature like the Arcanics are kind of the ones we end up tending to sympathize with more.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, a lot of them are like kids that we see in the beginning,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's
Yeah,
dark
like
too.
that really that really helps to just like put you firmly on one side is to like not to put too fine of a point on it, but you put a bunch of kids in cages, I'm gonna be on the other person's side.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I suppose like we could touch on like just this one thing that makes this so great is just how like full of like powerful themes that are in here, like the themes and the ideas and the commentaries that are put in here, like are all, like so sometimes you can stuff too many ideas and themes into something that none of them come out getting enough of what it needs to actually like make a good point. But I think with this, like she's able to like throw in a lot of different concepts, and I feel like they're all served in their own way. Like a big theme is dehumanization, right? Like but that's also like post-war, like you mentioned that kind of apartheid bit. It's like post-war, the fragility of peace. PTSD is like huge in there. Overcoming living with trauma, racism, prejudice, slavery, revenge, um, and like I mentioned before, not being 100% control of your body. Like, what's that like? So there's just a lot of stuff going on, and
I mean,
it's all
it's
really well
agency
fleshed
in
out.
general. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like it's just dealing with agency in general. And then every once in a while, someone will rip a unicorn's head off and kill somebody else with it.
yeah.
Uh,
Jeez.
that's like that. That's the cool. That's the cool like record scratch thing of like you think you finally tamp down what this thing has got about like what's going on in all of this, and then a unicorn gets his horn ripped off and someone gets murdered with it. And I just had to say that because I like I was like reading it and I feel like I was on autopilot for a little bit because that just really woke me up. I was like, what?
What? I just imagine you doing that and you're just sitting there quietly. What?
I was like, you can do that? Like that's just like that's so wild. I mean, I guess it's like not the craziest thing, but I've yet to come across that until now.
Yeah. Do you have a okay, other than the unicorn head thing, do you have a favorite moment?
Other than the unicorn head thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, just like I mentioned earlier with the turn when we meet the swashbuckling cat. Like I like that moment because like in retrospect, the way like they set up, it's hard to describe it without spoiling it, but like
Hmm.
a twist happens that is in retrospect actually pretty apparent when you like read the panels right before it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a
And
really cool
that's
sequence.
when the swashbuckling, yeah, when the swashbuckling cat appears, and it's just like, that was the cherry on top was like seeing that cat, like the Puss in Boots of that world. But
Yes.
like everything surrounding that event was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
How
And
about
like,
you?
well, I almost want to like go off of yours again too. Like the right after the swashbuckling cat appears, there's like a full page panel that, and I don't want to say too much about it because it is towards the end, but it's just like such a beautiful like sequence artistically. Like I was like, that's such a cool picture. Like you'd almost want to frame that when you see
Yeah,
all of them.
yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of there's a lot of awesome like splash panels or whatever. Was that
Oh,
what you would call that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Whatever. It's a cool like. There's a lot of cool full page like things that they do.
Somebody at Khalid and then tell him what that's actually called.
Please at me.
Yeah. I think so. I think one of my favorite parts though was like the first time that Maka kind of goes into the woods with the monster, like, and they kind of have like a loose agreement of like, you're not going to eat my little fox friend. We're going to go hunt somewhere else. So like, there's kind of like this like element of control she was able to exert for the first time on it. And they had this almost conversation where the monster was recognizing like, you understand me and you're able to sort of control a little bit. So they're like almost like a begrudging, annoyed respect that kind of happens there. Do you remember that? You know which part I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was what made me think of Venom the most. Like that moment
Yeah.
when like you realize that the monster has like a personality and is kind of like sassy at times.
Yeah. Yeah, because the monster's talking, and then I think I took a picture of the panel. Oh yeah, she says, "You are a chatty fucking monster, especially about nothing I care about." I like that.
She does not care about that monster at all.
No, she's not afraid at that point, I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
she gives no f's.
Um. You know. You know. You know, Khalid.
Do I know?
Do you know? Speaking of things that give no Fs, bears tend to give no Fs.
That's true. That's true. If there's one thing I've never seen a bear give, it's an F.
Yeah.
Uh,
So what? There are so many monsters here, but I'm just thinking like, I want you to four bears test the monster that's in Micah. Like four bears test that. Like we saw its capabilities the most. Like give that the four bears treatment.
yeah. Even with the most like generous of readings, I don't see how this passes. Like the thing is, for one, you, I've yet to hear of an instance of four bears living inside of a 17-year-old girl, let alone a one-armed girl. I only say that because that's less real estate right there. Uh, but so I don't think bears could do that. I don't think that's how bears feed the way that the monster feeds. Also, just based on how scared everybody that has come across the monster or knows about it is, and what like they say that the monster did already when it was like just like an epic like scene of destruction. I don't think four bears could do that, especially like against these magical creatures. Now, if we're talking about like in this world, whatever the equivalent of bears are, maybe they're just as like fearsome. Maybe there's like a bear god that we're gonna come across that like technically counts. And if there were four of the bear god, then yes. But right now with Earth bears, it's a clear fail.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good breakdown, more than I kind of expected.
Yeah, I only think deeply about like irrelevant things that will have no actual substantial bearing on my life. Anything that's real and I need to actually worry about, I have no thoughts on.
Well, it's irrelevant until we make it relevant by making a podcast about it, huh?
Exactly. So if we could just start making like podcasts about like things I need to get done around the house, that'd be great.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get on that, Cleve.
Awesome. Coming to a podcast network near you.
Um, what are you looking forward to seeing in the future volumes? Like, what do you want to see fleshed out, and what are you excited to see?
It sounds like her mom is gonna play a really big role, and I'm hoping that like I feel like with this kind of story, it's the kind of thing where like the mom might not be as like good as like you would think they would normally be with a story with like a protagonist trying to avenge their slain parent, especially like what we've already heard about her, like alluded to, and
Hmm.
like what she's allowed to happen in the name of her daughter. So that's gonna be cool. Other than that, the Tuya character that she keeps like kind of speaking to in her mind, I want to see more of her. And yeah, I guess just like really figuring out like not even just seeing the full extent of what this monster can do that they keep promising. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm with you on that. I want to see that relationship that like you kind of nailed it when you kind of said it like a Venom relationship almost, but like that relationship between the monster and the girl like flesh out and see where that's going to go and how they're able to like build off of each other and like what skills each one's going to be able to contribute to whatever the end goal is going to be there. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see more about the mom because she was sort of like mentioned, but not actually. There wasn't much we learned about the mom really at all in this either. But I'm also really interested to learn more about the ancients. We only get a brief bit with them towards the end, um, but they're kind of mysterious and sort of isolationist. And there's like the dawn and the dusk court are the two like I guess sects of the ancient political, I don't know, culture, I guess you could say. But I'm interested to see. I feel like that's like a tidbit of world building that we just only scratch the surface on, and I'm really interested to see more there and like how what impact they have on the world because obviously like it's the ancients like mating with humans that created the Arcanics like thousands and thousands of years ago to like spawn their own race, but like what are they doing now? They're pretty hands off in the war, it sounded like, but what stake do they have in currently what's going on? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, they've planted a lot of seeds. Like this is where like the Game of Thrones comparison kind of comes in. It's like a lot of politics is introduced, and that makes for like interesting like pairings of characters that can like spring into different storylines.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yep.
I was reading an interview with Marjorie Liu, and she said that it was very intentional that she wanted to make rage a defining trait in her character, in Maika's character, because she had noticed, like, sort of just, I mean, this is general in society that like female rage is often like ridiculed more in society, right? Like there's hysterical, emotional, like those kinds of phrases are thrown off, or male rage is often given like a pass for some other reason. So she wanted to like make that a point in this character, that like how rage could be almost powerful in this. Did you kind of pick up on that at all?
Yeah, I did actually, and I'm glad you brought it up because that's a big reason why I like Micah so much. Is she's very much like independent of like the monster inside of her that makes her like a threat to so many people. Like she is just an interesting character, and a lot of that comes from like that rage and the way that she dispenses it on people. I guess like the Venom description earlier is like apt, but instead of like Eddie Brock, it'd be like if Venom like possessed the Punisher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone that's like already kind of a handful on their own, and then you've just like added this like nuclear button to their arsenal. So I love it, and I think that yeah, it's cool to show women exhibit rage and not immediately get punished for it. Even in like a moralistic sense. Again, I don't know. The soul story could end with her like getting killed. I don't think, based on the creators, that that's where it's headed. Where like she gets like some kind of retribution for this rage in any real way. And so yeah, like I love it. It's dope and it's real. I know so many women that utilize their anger in a way that makes them more of a threat or more of an opposing figure in their lives, and it helps. It's a tool. You know what I mean? Obviously, like don't take it to like abusive territory or anything like that, but that's a real thing. Like you should women should be allowed to utilize it the way men do and are praised for it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one piece I really loved about this. I think like another theme that we could have just added to that list that just carried so well.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you, actually. I know. So normally at this point in the episode is when I usually ask you whether or not you would fight or flirt with the monster in question, and so this story has a whole bunch of monsters, and the line of what is a monster is often blurred, and I think that's an intentional thing here. Like what makes a monster, and like from being just like a creature or a beast, and or like the definition of like a monster in some cases, like something that's just like that's evil, and then in many cases like the human is the monster, like the monster is meant to reflect our own problems. So there's a lot of like dialogue, and or like I don't want to say dialogue's not the right word. There's just like lot going on with like what a monster is in the story. So instead of asking you to fight or flirt with the monster, I'm going to say if you existed in this world, Khalid, this monstrous world, you were say you're a farmer in like the border between like the Arcanics land and the human land. You're just a farmer and you do your thing, but oftentimes wars are coming up and just like people are battling by you. How do you get by in this world? Do you fight your way through this world, or do you flirt your way through this world?
Um. Well, you just told me I'm a farmer, so
But you could have a different skill set. I don't know.
okay. But like, am I human? Like, am I an archanic? Am I one of the ancients that retired to a farm? Like, a lot, a lot of that is like important information because the power sets dramatically vary.
You're human.
Okay, I'm human. Then I guess I don't know. I mean, I think for the most part, I would flirt with the monsters, and I don't know how well it would work because they're all so bougie and just like look down on like anything that isn't them. So I'm kind of screwed either way. Like they have not demonstrated that there's like any way to fight them without like some kind of like Deus Ex living inside of you. So yeah, I guess I would flirt and die.
Sorry, I just wanted to make it more complicated than more normal for you.
I mean, if anything, you made it simpler, but sure.
I guess, yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was good. You're gonna. I think I know your answer, but you're gonna continue with the series.
Yeah, I think so. It's a fun read, and I was kind of speed reading through this because I did my homework late. But so maybe I'll reread the first one, and then like it'll be a nice like casual read. I think, especially once I get like a better sense of all the characters and the stakes for each of them.
I think a second read through is definitely worthwhile for it. I appreciate it a lot having read it before and reading it the second time. Like I knew bits and pieces were coming, and I was able to kind of like contextualize it a lot more. I think.
Yeah, I figure that'll happen for me too. So yeah, I
Mhm.
liked it. It's dope. I'm gonna keep with it.
Same. I'm really excited to see where it goes. Side note, back to our previous book club episode, the Bitterroot one, um, back in the day by Sanford Green and David F. Walker. Volume 2 just released, I think, maybe a couple months ago. So if anyone wants to follow up on that, that's out.
Ooh, get your bitter root on, folks. It's a good read.
Yeah. Oh, super good. I'm excited to both like these two series. I think they're relatively new and highly acclaimed. Winning Eisner Awards all over the place, and I think they're all well deserved. So I give them my stamp of approval for you listeners to go read it.
Hey Joe, can I borrow your stamp real quick?
Yeah,
I also give you Joe's stamp of approval, y'all.
well deserved.
Super well deserved.
All right, Khalid. I think we're at that point in the show where we do our, excuse me, what the fandom section.
You did whatever the verbal or vocal equivalent of a wind up is for that. I really enjoyed that.
I'm glad you liked it. So, what the fandom is where we kind of just discuss things that we're into right now that we've watched, read, listened to, that we might recommend to you listeners. So, Khalid, what the fandom with you?
My what the fandom this week is the 2016 movie Better Watch Out. I think it's available on Amazon Prime. That's where I watched it. I'm pretty sure it's included on Prime. So, uh, it's a crazy fun movie. Nothing like it's. I don't think it'll make anybody's like top 20 list or anything like that. But it's entertaining, and it basically just asks the question like, what if Kevin from Home Alone was actually the sociopath that we all love to say he is? And like, they take that to its like logical conclusion with like this like really like horrible awful kid on a Christmas night when his babysitter is watching him, and the turn that it takes and the path that it goes. It's like really gnarly. If you're into like not horror, I guess, but like horror adjacent movies like that, I would totally recommend it. And yeah, it just like I think what I liked the most about it was like how unexpected it was. Like you know how it is when you go into like the bargain bin of like Amazon Prime or Hulu or something when you're like picking movies that like you've just like you're convinced that it's fake. Like they just put it in there to make their catalog look bigger, and then you watch it and realize okay, a whole movie was made that you never heard of. But but yeah, it's one of those, and it's actually surprisingly good. Definitely on like the top of the heap there. So better watch out. I would say give it a watch on Amazon.
Cool. I haven't heard of it, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. I actually have two this week.
Ooh, okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
Overachiever
yeah,
here.
yeah. I know you've had two before. This is my first time, I think. Well, no, I had one where I was like 10, but yeah, it's all good. All right, so two. One of them is a movie, and so I think you watched this too. We talked about it, but a couple weekends ago, we watched the movie Save Yourselves on Hulu. It's a movie from 2019. It's sort of about it's like a kind of like an indie rom com setup where these two people um, from Brooklyn, from New York City, decide to go into like a remote cabin, turn their phones off, try to get in touch with nature and get in touch with themselves. But then it kind of shifts gears and starts to ask the question like, what if tribbles were a little bit bigger and murderous and also were invading Earth? So then it goes there, and that's kind of the crux of like the main story that we start to see. And it's a blending of genres. And I thought it was going to be kind of silly and maybe dumb, but what I really appreciated is how earnestly it kind of treated the subject matter for how silly it could be. The threat felt real, which is kind of funny to say, but like I just thought it was a really well done movie. It's not like a 5-star movie by any means, but it's a really cool, um, unique movie that I think is definitely worth a watch. And so I'd recommend that. It's Save Yourselves on Hulu is where I found it. And my second recommendation, or what the fandom is, I'm really excited about. I just got this in the mail. I told you again about this, Khalid, but the Beastmaster, which we did way back in episode 3, just received
not to
this.
be confused with Ultimate Beastmaster, which is a
Definitely
made-up
not.
thing that I came up with.
But you can make the case that this is the ultimate version of Beastmaster. It's a new release, a 4K Blu-ray release of the movie from Vinegar Syndrome, which is like a boutique Blu-ray label, and it comes in the sweet box. There's like a essay book, a photo book, concept art. There's there's 2 different versions of the movie, one with like added effects and like a director's preferred edition, which I think is just director's cut, but they don't call it that. New commentaries, new documentaries, new features, upgraded like picture and everything like that. So it's just this really ultimate set, and I'm pretty excited. It's got the box art alone is just cool. So it's like one you want to put on the shelf, and like it looks cool. So I'm very excited about that. So for those of you, like the other like 6 people out there who are super Beastmaster fans, like you guys should pick it up.
Yeah, all 6 of you Beastmaster hype beasts.
Yeah, 7 including me, I guess, right?
Yeah. So you got the 7th one. We just 6 to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's what we got for you today, folks. What we want to leave you with, though, is you all listening should, if you haven't already, follow Frankenstein's podcast on Facebook and Twitter, where you can see all our hot takes on monsters, updates on our episodes. I tend to post a week before which monster we're covering for the next episode. So if you're wondering what we're going to do next, check the socials, because that's where it will be. And also, if you could, please rate and review us wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps us get listeners and helps us grow our base in general, and maybe we can do more cool stuff.
Yeah,
for
if
y'all.
you guys like what you're hearing, hit us with that 5-star, and if you do give us a 5-star review, we will read it on the pod at the end of the episode, or at the top. We don't know yet. We're still deciding, top or bottom. We'll figure it out.
I think it'll be bottom.
All right, at the bottom of the episode, we're going to give you guys a shout out if you give us a 5-star review, and we'll even read it on the air. Obviously, don't make it like a full-on like chapter or something like that. But yeah, please do.
Yeah, please do. So yeah, anyway, until next time, Khalid.
Creep it easy, y'all.